You think you're safe because you live in a nice area, because you lock your doors at night, because you trust your friends. But safety isn't about locks, neighborhoods, or names. It's about what you reveal and what they remember. The truth is this: most people who get targeted didn't do anything wrong, except talk too much. One post, one joke, one late-night overshare. That's all it takes. And the worst part? You won't even know you've marked yourself until it's too late. That was the first secret. Your financial life is no one's business. Yet every day, people willingly hand over this information on a silver platter. They post their new car, their renovated kitchen, their fresh stack of credit cards. Finally, debt-free, the caption reads, and someone, somewhere, is now watching. There was a woman I once knew, early 30s, self-made, proud. She posted a selfie with her front door behind her. Not even flashy, just a humble, joyful moment. What she didn't realize was that the house number in the background, combined with public property data and a few cross-references, was enough to pinpoint her exact address. 2 break-in attempts. In 2 months, different times, same method. She never saw it coming. Why? Because she didn't break the law. She broke her own perimeter. In a world obsessed with self-disclosure, we've blurred the line between connection and exposure. You think you're sharing a life update, but you're actually broadcasting a vulnerability, not to friends, to opportunists. Here's what you need to understand. Real predators don't chase the ultra-wealthy. Too much security, too much risk. They look for people like you, middle class. Just enough to make it worth their while. Not enough to defend yourself when it counts. They notice when you post vacation photos while still out of town. They read between the lines when you mention your raise. They smile when you flex that luxury watch or designer handbag. Because now they know you have it and that you want people to see it. They don't need access to your bank account. They just need your patterns, your location, your routine, your emotional need to be validated. The Stoics had no Instagram, but they understood this truth better than most today. What is precious must be protected, not paraded. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That includes not just your values, but your victories, your bank balance, your lifestyle. Because pride doesn't require an audience, but predators do. So the next time you feel tempted to post your bonus, your investment win, your new gadget, stop and ask yourself, am I sharing or am I signaling? Am I informing friends or inviting danger? Privacy is not paranoia. It is protection. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. Discretion. That's your shield. Use it. The second secret is the one you ignore until the silence gets loud. You're walking alone. The sidewalk is empty, but something feels off. Like someone knows where you are and they shouldn't. That feeling, it's not irrational. It's recognition. I once met a woman who shared her life like it was a broadcast. Not out of arrogance, but out of joy. Newly engaged, energetic, always online. She loved posting milestones, routines, weekend escapes. One Friday, her partner surprised her with a trip to a quiet mountain cabin. She posted the road trip, the view from the deck, a smiling caption. No signal, no problem. But there was a problem. Someone she had cut ties with months earlier. Someone she had blocked, ignored, and moved on from. was still watching, silently. He knew two things. She wasn't home, and no one else was either. While she was away, someone entered her apartment. No broken lock, no signs of force. Just drawers opened, closets touched. Almost nothing stolen. Because it wasn't about theft. It was about presence, about access, about control without consent. This isn't rare. It's just rarely talked about. Because we've normalized broadcasting where we are, assuming only friends are paying attention, but strangers watch. Exes watch. Old colleagues. Someone you met once at a dinner. Even that anonymous account that liked all your stories last week. Studies show over 78% of modern burglars use social media to choose their targets. They don't need to guess when you're gone. You've already told them, publicly, repeatedly. And it's not just burglars. It's people looking to monitor, to manipulate, to fantasize about access. Not because you invited them, but because your patterns did. You post your 6 a.m. jog, your late-night walks, your favorite cafe, your weekend getaways in real time. And just like that, you've created a map of vulnerability. Voluntarily. Why do we do this? Because we crave recognition. Because being seen feels like being alive. Because silence feels like absence. But Stoicism isn't afraid of silence. It honors it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." In other words, you don't need an audience to exist. You don't need attention to be present. Your experience doesn't need proof. To live stoically in the digital world means post your trip after you return. Delay gratification. Keep your routines private. Protect your movement like a strategy because it is. What you don't say might be what saves you. So ask yourself, what am I really gaining by showing them where I am? And who else might be watching? Because predators don't always break in. Sometimes they just wait until you open the door. With your own words, your privacy is your perimeter, and your silence, that's your shield. Be quiet. Be careful. Be stoic. The third secret hides in plain sight. You think you're being careful. You're not bragging, you're being responsible. You're proud of your new alarm system, your motion sensors, your biometric safe. So you post about it, or mention it in passing, or laugh about it at dinner. But you didn't build a wall. You drew a blueprint, and someone, somewhere, just took notes. There was a man I once knew, tech-savvy, young family, moved into a new place with his wife and child. Excited about home upgrades, he posted in a private renovation forum, mentioned the brand of his new biometric safe, how it worked, and even joked about its location, tucked behind the suits like a Bond movie. It wasn't a boast, it was enthusiasm. But a few weeks later, while they were out of town, the safe was gone. No forced entry, no disturbance. Not even the television was touched. Just the safe removed cleanly. He hadn't been robbed by chance. He'd been targeted with precision. And the plan? He had helped write it. Here's what most people miss. Not all criminals are desperate. Some are patient. They observe. They collect information the kind we offer freely, wrapped in small talk or pride. We post pictures of our entryway. We mention where we hide valuables, even if just joking. We tell acquaintances we don't need cameras because the neighborhood is quiet, and we think that makes us humble. But to someone listening, it makes us vulnerable. Because predators don't just look for valuables. They look for access. They listen for details. They study our habits. Why do we reveal so much? Because control feels good. Because recognition feels safe. Because talking about protection makes us feel protected. But real safety is not performative. It's private. And real protection makes no noise. Seneca once said, "He who does not prevent a crime when he can, encourages it." That prevention, it begins with what you don't say. To live stoically is to understand that what is sacred must be guarded, and what is guarded must remain unspoken. So here's what you do. If someone asks about your home setup, keep it vague. "I've got things covered." Don't discuss where you store cash, weapons, or heirlooms, even with people you think you trust. Don't give house tours online. Don't mention floor plans, routines, or weak spots even in humor, because once someone knows what you have, how you guard it, and where it's kept, you're no longer in control. They are. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to say useful or just satisfying? If the wrong person heard this, what could they do with it? The Stoics believed in quiet strength, power that doesn't ask to be seen. A fortress isn't strong because people see its defenses. It's strong because no one knows how to breach it. Your home is your sanctuary. It should feel sacred, not exposed. Keep your protection silent. Keep your possessions sacred. Keep your words measured, not out of fear, but out of mastery. The fourth secret is the one that feels the most human, because it comes from your need to be understood, to connect, to feel seen. You share your struggles, your health issues, your trauma. You speak from the heart, and someone listens. Not to comfort you, but to study you. There was a man I knew, mid-50s, kind, soft-spoken. He had just come through chemotherapy. The journey was brutal, but he survived. He wanted to inspire others. So he opened up in a community forum, wrote about his fatigue, his routines, his medications, his isolation. People applauded his courage, but not everyone clapped for the right reasons. Someone read that post, not with admiration, but calculation. A few weeks later, his home was broken into while he slept, drugged by painkillers. No confrontation, no noise, just quiet violation. Because when someone knows you're weak, they don't need to fight you. They wait for you to fall on your own. Not all predators carry weapons. Some carry questions. They listen. They wait. They don't break down your door. They walk through the one you opened yourself. We live in a world that romanticizes vulnerability. Share your scars. Speak your truth. Be raw. Be real. But there's a difference between being authentic and being exposed. When you talk publicly about your trauma, your depression, your physical limitations, your family's routines, your child's condition, you're not just expressing pain, you're handing someone the blueprint of how to hurt you. And not everyone wants to help. Some want to twist. Manipulators are not driven by rage. They're driven by access. And the more they know about your guilt, your shame, your history, the more surgical their attacks become. They learn how to guilt you, gaslight you, control you, not with fists, but with facts you freely gave them. You might say, "But I only share to connect." And that's fair. You're not wrong for wanting connection, but connection is earned. Not everyone deserves access to your wounds. Chrysippus once wrote, "The wise man will confess, but only to those who are suited to hear it. That one line could save your life. Here's what Stoic strength looks like today. You process in private. You speak in code, not in confessions. You trust slowly. You heal silently, deliberately, without broadcasting your scars to strangers. Because real healing isn't loud. It's sacred. And sacred things are guarded, not tweeted. This applies to more than just you. When you talk casually about an elderly parent who lives alone, your child's after-school routine, a disabled sibling home during the day, you're not just sharing stories. You're creating a map of vulnerability that someone out there might follow. Your love should never be what puts your family at risk. So the next time you feel the urge to open up, ask, is this person worthy of my truth? What would they do with this if they ever turned on me? You're not cold for withholding. You're wise. You're not heartless. You're disciplined. And in this world, that discipline is your armor. Your deepest pain is not a public offering. It's a private flame. Guard it, or someone else will use it to burn you. The fifth secret isn't hidden in your vault. It's scattered across your past. A dog's name, a street you grew up on, a school mascot in an old photo, your favorite band from the 90s. Harmless? That's what they want you to think. There was a teacher I once spoke with, bright, positive, popular, online. She loved doing about me quizzes on her Instagram stories. First pet's name, something cute and generic. Hometown, just a small town she thought no one cared about. First car, a dusty old sedan she barely kept alive. She thought it was fun, harmless, personal. Then one day, her email was locked. Her banking app frozen. Security questions failed. Passwords reset. Accounts drained. She hadn't been hacked. She'd been assembled, piece by piece, by herself. This is what modern identity theft looks like. It's not a hoodie in a dark basement. It's someone silently watching, screenshotting, logging, storing. They don't steal your data. You give it to them, voluntarily, enthusiastically, publicly. Every post, tag, comment is a puzzle piece. Individually, nothing. Together, a mirror of your life. They learn your full name, your family connections, your birthday, your old addresses, your school history, your digital behavior, and from that, they build a version of you that even you can't undo. And it doesn't stop at impersonation. Once they mimic your profile, they can bait your friends, scam your loved ones, apply for loans, access your medical records, even bypass two-factor authentication, because your backup answers were all things you posted proudly. The betrayal? It's not by the thief. It's by the system that rewards oversharing and punishes silence. Why do we share so much? Because we equate honesty with openness. We mistake vulnerability for authenticity. We believe being known means being real. But the Stoics saw through that long ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In the digital world, that becomes, if it's not secure, don't post it. If it's not necessary, don't say it. Living stoically today means treating your online life like your physical body, guarded. Using false answers to security questions known only to you. Never discussing which banking or investment apps you use. Regularly auditing your posts. Does this help someone or expose me? locking your privacy settings tighter than your front door, because what you share today can be weaponized months later by someone you don't know and can't track. You're not being paranoid. You're being precise. You're not antisocial. You're self-protective. You're not distrustful. You're just not foolish. That's not weakness. That's Stoicism in action. Ask yourself, if this post ended up in the hands of a stranger with bad intentions, would I regret it? Because one cheerful memory might be all it takes to dismantle your identity. So, audit your presence, tighten your gates, delete what no longer serves you. The strongest version of yourself doesn't share everything. They don't have to. They already know who they are. And that knowledge stays protected. The sixth secret is the one you whisper at 2 a.m. The one you've buried, reshaped, denied, and sometimes still dream about. Your deepest regret. The thing you wish you hadn't said, hadn't done, hadn't let go, hadn't endured. It sits quietly until someone gets close enough, and then you hand it to them, like a confession, like a peace offering, like a gift. But it's not a gift. It's leverage. There was a man I once worked with. Calm, warm, spoke very little about himself until one late conversation. He shared a decision he regretted for decades. It broke him. You could see it in his posture, the way he looked away when he said it. A few months later, during a workplace conflict, that exact moment was brought up, used against him. Not directly, not obviously, just enough to twist the knife. He wasn't attacked. He was disarmed by his own honesty. Not all manipulations happen in relationships. Some happen in boardrooms, in group chats, in therapy-like friendships that were never built on equal trust. You open up, they nod, they listen, and someday they remember not to empathize, but to control. This isn't fear-mongering. This is pattern recognition. We've created a culture where trauma is trend. Confession is currency. Vulnerability is marketed as bravery. But the Stoics saw this trap centuries ago. Epictetus said, "Be silent for the most part, or speak only what is necessary and in few words." He didn't mean silence as repression. He meant it as selection. Because not all truths are ready for all ears. Your deepest regret, your worst memory, your unhealed betrayal. These aren't proof that you're real. They're proof that you're still bleeding. And when you show the wrong person where you hurt, they don't offer medicine. They learn where to press. So ask yourself, why do I want to share this? Am I seeking connection or catharsis? Do I want to be heard or held? And what would this person do if they ever stopped being kind? Stoic living is not emotional isolation. It's emotional discipline. You don't bleed in front of strangers. You don't confess to the curious. You don't explain your guilt to those who haven't earned your trust. And if you must speak, you choose who. You choose when. And you choose with the knowledge that silence is not weakness. It's control. Your deepest regret is not a story to share over coffee. It's a sacred scar. And scars should be respected, not displayed. Even in love, even in friendship, even when the silence feels unbearable. Because real strength isn't telling everyone everything. It's knowing who deserves to know anything at all. Protect your past like it still has power, because it does. And once it's out, you don't get to decide how it's remembered or how it's used. You can live with your regret, but you should never let someone else wield it. If you've made it this far, then something in you already knew that you've shared too much, trusted too quickly, spoken when you should have stayed silent. This video wasn't about paranoia. It was about pattern. And the pattern is clear. You don't get targeted because you're reckless. You get targeted because you're predictable, because you wanted to be known, and someone used that against you. But here's what matters now. You're waking up. You're seeing the world not as you hoped it would be, but as it is. And in that clarity, there's power. Not power over others, but power over your own mouth, your own fingers, your own impulse to explain, to post, to prove. Because Stoicism isn't about being cold. It's about being measured. It's not about distrusting everyone. It's about learning who's earned your trust. It's not about locking yourself away. It's about choosing your moments with intention. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, "Be invisible." He said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And good men, good women, know when to speak and when to say nothing. So what do you do now? You go silent. Not forever. Just long enough to regain control. To do the audit. To pull back what never should have been public. To review who knows what and why. To speak again only when the words serve you, not expose you. You become a fortress, not a wall that blocks love, but a gate that knows how to close, and lock, and wait. You don't owe anyone your location, your salary, your trauma, your regret. You don't owe them access, or explanation, or closure. You owe yourself something else: protection, privacy, peace. If this message hit close to home, then act like your life depends on it. Because in the long run, it might. Stay quiet. Stay disciplined. Stay stoic. But don't stop here. There's more you need to know. Hit subscribe not to follow, but to fortify. Because each video is another piece of armor. And next time, it might be the one that saves you. Share this with the one person who overshares without realizing it. You might be the only warning they ever get. Your privacy is your power. Use it. Now.